This podcast is part of the Big Heads Media Podcast Network. Go to bigheadsmedia.com for more great podcasts.
Graphic novels,
Not so comical content.
scary ink.
All that and horror.
Fuck yeah.
Yes.
Welcome to episode 93
Turn
of
the
this,
page. Wash your hands.
the second.
I wasn't done.
Okay.
Okay, I'm done.
Okay. And then you turn the page.
And then you wash
and
your
then you
hands.
wash your hands.
Oh, fish sticks.
This is the second installment of Spooky Media Bros for October. I'm Midnight Agent Raw.
Oh gosh, yeah, I'm Okami.
Oh God, oh fish sticks. Fish dicks. Today we're going to talk about comic books, but more specifically horror in comics because, I mean, everybody reads Marvel and DC, but, I mean, and some of those have horror-based characters and content, but horror in comics goes all the way back to, God, like the 40s.
Late
Like,
40s.
Earlier than that, even.
Well, I mean, they started publishing them mostly in the late 40s, but yeah, the ideas came probably like in the 20s or 30s, I want to say.
Yeah, and it's like in the 20th century, it was like a bunch of pulp magazines.
Yeah.
But it's funny because the horror subgenre wasn't even really called it wasn't even called horror. They called it a weird menace, which is actually very funny. Like just if you think about the name Weird Menace.
Read this weird menace.
It's like the movie Weird Science, but they just made a movie called Weird Menace.
She blinded me with menacing.
Just like two teenage boys. We need to create the perfect woman of our dreams.
Yeah.
And it's just the perfect woman of their nightmares, and it's just Weird Menace. Like she doesn't even like murder them or murder anybody. She just like causes havoc around them. Like her actions as like I don't know what the fuck's going on. It just causes like a chain reaction of bad shit that happens.
Why does this sound like a Twilight Zone episode? It's like two boys wanted to make the perfect girlfriend, but in return got the perfect nightmare.
I don't know, but if that's not a thing, somebody make it a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like the Weird Menace subgenre was like a bunch of just villains and torture shit.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, there wasn't a huge focus on the true genre of horror. It was mostly just specific characters and creatures that emphasize like just terror and pain and suffering and stuff like that. But it wasn't anything that we've dealt with here recently in the modern age.
Yeah, and especially back then, because I mean, if you think about it, that's when all those Universal horror movies had come out, like in the 30s and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that congruently was like influencing on like the superhero stories, and they had like vampires and mad scientists and all that shit. Because I mean, there was a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde comic in 1943, and that was give or take the first full length comic horror book. And I grew up on, you know, old shit because, like, you know, my parents had stuff that they had when they were kids passed down to them. So, as lighthearted as it was, I remember Casper, and it's not so much horror, but I remember like that being a thing where it was like, oh, I didn't realize they had anything like this other than superhero shit.
And see, that was another thing too. Like once the icons and the figures and the content started getting out there, it wasn't strictly let's make it scary per se. It was more of let's make it scary, but at the same time, let's make it like family friendly. So you would have certain comic books that would just make it more like lighthearted, basically.
Yeah, because I mean, some of the first earlier stuff aside from the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, they had a New Adventures of Frankenstein.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that was basically just an updated version of the Mary Shelley novel.
Yep.
Legend of Sleepy Hollow was at one point done. I mean, there's a bunch of shit. But, you know, moving through that, I think around like the 1950s, was Atlas Comics, actually, because they had started to put in stuff like that, even like timely before it became Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
They were doing zombies, vampires, and werewolves and shit like that. Like in the Marvel Mystery Comics anthology, they did shit like that.
Yeah.
Marvel Tales. I mean, shit, the final 2 issues of the Captain America comics were done in that style. Didn't even have Captain in it at all. Like in 49 and 1950, that didn't have it.
Yeah.
But I don't know, dude. That stuff like Tales from the Crypt. I remember the Tales from the Crypt comics.
Yeah, I mean I think that's one of the main ones I remember.
Yeah, because they had it was like EC Comics. They had the Haunt of Fear, the Vault of Horror, and the Crypt of Terror. That was actually renamed the Tales from the Crypt.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that very vividly because I still remember the covers to them. They had this. It's the same font like they use on the HBO series, like and everything. But I remember that being the tie-in. Whenever I was a kid, I was like, "Holy shit, this is the HBO TV series."
Mm-hmm.
But in comic book form, and at the time, I was like, "Oh, I didn't realize that the comic had come first."
Right.
Like I'm sure many people did.
I mean, yeah, that's where a lot of these shows get their, backing from is just, decades of comics.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get into that too. But I think, like, for me and you, I'm sure some of the first stuff that we vividly remember in our childhood seeing were things like Swamp Thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the biggest ones between us.
Yeah, like for me it was Swamp Thing, and Hellblazer.
Mm-hmm.
I know Spawn is another huge thing. Which Spawn was just. I mean, they're all really well done, but I think Spawn was one of the first ones, aside from Swamp Thing, at the time that was just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
It was drama-driven horror too,
Right.
and same. Well, it's not the same, but like I know Hellboy for you was a big fucking deal.
Mm-hmm. But a moment though to think about this, like I mentioned earlier, the concept of horror in graphic novels and comics was mostly the image. It was mostly the setting of these characters. So, you have Hellboy, who looks like a demon based on, hunting other demonic creatures or, mythological creatures in general. Spawn, who is literally born from hell, with this very just demonic look to him with his cape that's constantly like moving around and organic. That was kind of the main core of horror for so many decades. But you never got a lot of the suspense horror or the psychological horror or anything like that up until I want to say it was a couple of decades ago. I want to say.
Yeah, I mean a little bit.
But when you talk about, like I said, for ours, it's like, Swamp Thing, Hellboy, and Spawn, Hellblazer, and stuff like that. I mean, like I said, those are great ideas to look at when it comes to the horror aspect, but they went so many different directions with the actual characters, so now it's not so much straight horror. It's more of like action horror, or like you said, dramatic horror.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So now you get into like Tales from the Crypt, which is basically the stories themselves that are driven with the fear factors.
Yeah.
And when you really think about it, like there's a lot of stuff that you don't think as horror that actually is horror. Like I was thinking about it earlier that stuff like The Killing Joke is technically like psychological horror.
Yeah, it definitely falls into that category of psychological horror, thriller. Hell, it's funny that you brought up Killing Joke because actually the DC one, I mean, not necessarily like strictly DC, but like Batman in general. Mm-hmm. The graphic novel Arkham Asylum, A Serious House on Earth, or A Serious House on Serious Earth. Dude, I don't know if you've ever seen that one or read the or seen the artwork from it, but holy shit, dude.
Isn't that the one that looks like really washed out painting?
Yeah, it's fucking scary looking, man. Like I remember cracking that fucker open and seeing the Joker, and it legitimately frightened me.
Yeah, because it just looked like something you would see in your mind.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, and that's a great story too, and I think that was the first one that got written by Grant Morrison, and he actually wound up becoming a regular writer for Batman after that shit. But not to go into the comic, too much, because I would, both of us would actually, like some of you out there that haven't checked some of the stuff we're going to be talking about, I want you to go check it out, read it, or if you have read it, tweet at us and talk to us about it on social media.
Yeah.
It'd be a lot of fun because there's a lot of shit that we've read that we don't want to spoil, but we'll definitely talk to you about, off the air.
Yeah, it's so much fun, like actually getting people to give their intake about it and actually replying back to them instead of just saying like, oh, well, here we're going to talk about, our favorites and kind of go from there, and nobody can say shit about it. So
Yeah.
I like to actually hear what people think about our opinions, like one-on-one, rather than just like, well, after the fact, yeah, you were wrong about this one thing, or hey, your opinion sucks about that part.
Yeah, and the thing, yeah, exactly. But like getting back into this, it was really cool the way they did some of this shit because like Batman essentially is kind of trapped in Arkham with everybody he's ever imprisoned there. Obviously, like Joker is like one of the main people, but it was really crazy because Two-Face actually gets his coin replaced with a 6-sided die and then a tarot deck, which is really fucking weird.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just very like, it was very like Alice in Wonderland almost too, but in a dark way.
Well, I mean, look at the setting though. Like you're literally trapped in an asylum, or at some point, like they had Arkham City at some point where they put all of the villains and criminals in one place. I mean, being surrounded by that much, hate and anger and terror, it's like it's horror in a way like that too, because no matter where you turn, there's gonna be some element of fear behind it. Like, I mean, as much as the Joker is a horror icon per se in the Batman universe, I mean, you got other characters like the Scarecrow, who is derivative of inducing the fear behind all of that, shit that you block away, making it come out with his gas.
Yeah, and then I think for a physical, imposing person, I think Killer Croc also fits the bill too, because Killer Croc is also that kind of unstoppable force of nature in the way that Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees would be. I mean, that's kind of how I look at it. I mean, obviously, like Batman has beaten all these people, but still, if you're looking at the character, like physically, put there, that's how I look at Killer Croc. There was a lot of other shit in DC too, because I want to say like the Vertigo imprint was what got put out for like a lot of their quote mature themed shit. And like Hellblazer for me was a big one because I've always been a fan of John Constantine, the character. And I mean, think about it. Like the character of John Constantine is a dude that has fucking cancer that is going to fucking die and is essentially trying to buy his way into heaven because he sent so many motherfuckers back to hell. I mean, that the character is a little more complex than that when you get more into it. But Jesus Christ, dude, I love that they use like magic and the supernatural settings for all this shit. Because he comes across so many different kinds of characters. And then the character, the character of John himself is just a very well-written fucking character.
I mean, another character too that just popped in my head was Rorschach. If you think about it,
Rorschach from Watchmen.
Yeah.
I
mean, he was mentally just psychologically fucked up, and he was just trying to figure out, like in a detective manner, like how to get these people, back where they belong, in jail and stuff. But his face was just constantly shifting between all the different patterns of the Rorschach test, and all these people that confront him are just terrorized because they don't know what to think because they're looking at this pattern being constantly shifting in their face, and their mind is just going different directions the entire time while he's literally trying to cast judgment on these people.
Yeah.
So yeah, in a way, in that area, that's technically a psychological horror. So
yeah, and I really like the way that you can put, psychological horror in with like traditional fucked up.
Yeah.
Is that a chainsaw out there coming for us?
Hold on. Don't be tripping.
Wait,
no, hold on. Leatherface is getting off the bus.
God damn it.
Dude, he traveled all the way from Texas to come here.
Yeah?
God damn.
Why did he take a school bus?
And why is he in a white jumpsuit? Like one of those track suits.
I have no idea.
He's on a call or something. Like, wait, who's he calling? How can he hear?
I don't know.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Like
I'm waiting for him to go away.
he literally has a suitcase in the shape of a chainsaw.
And the suitcase is bound in flesh.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Yeah.
I'm actually a little scared. I mean, a little bit, but I think we have weapons in the house.
No, I do.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Oh, okay.
Is he leaving?
Yeah, I think so.
No, he just pulled up closer.
He's getting closer. It's like you're trying to upchuck.
Go away.
Okay.
Go terrorize somebody else.
Okay, he's getting off his.
He's
phone.
going to Elm Street next.
Oh yeah, they gotta go pick up Freddy.
What a motherfucking bastard.
Anyway, back to our regularly scheduled programming.
That was a close one.
Yeah, he didn't see us.
Speaking of that, that's actually a comic I wanted to bring up because I know we're kind of talking a little bit broadly and not getting too far into certain storylines and shit. But did you? I don't know if you knew this, dude, and I know a few of you out there have mentioned it to me in passing on social media before. Freddy versus Jason versus Ash.
I did see that. Yeah.
Did you read it?
Mm-mm.
Oh, God, it was so good, dude. And it was like a little fucking bus engine. It's a 6-issue series that had come out. And basically this is what happened to the Freddy vs. Jason 2 script that never got made. Basically introduced Ash from Evil Dead. And without spoiling too much, the idea is that 5 years after the movie, Will and Laurie go back to Crystal Lake basically to kind of have closure and shit. But Jason is still alive, obviously, and fucking kills him.
Yeah.
And then he goes into a trance, and Freddy and Jason's mother like appear to him because Freddy is trapped in Jason's mind. So the Necronomicon is actually hidden in the old Voorhees house. So the idea is that Freddy is trying to get a hold of the Necronomicon to return to full power and increase Jason's intelligence and basically have an entire army of the dead. And that's where Ash comes in.
So I wonder who's hailing to the actual king. Like, who's the king here?
Oh, it's Ash. It will always be Ash.
Yeah, I know, but still, it's like, you have two like iconic horror icons. They're basically like the kings of their realm, and then you have Boomstick Ash with all his glory. Like, who actually hails to who at this point?
Exactly. But what I liked about the idea of it was the fact that they were going to use Ash as like the end all be all. Like, because I feel like if anybody would kill them off for good, it would be him.
Mm-hmm.
Ash is absolutely that character that could cross over into any universe and just put a definitive end to a character. So I'm kind of sad the movie didn't happen.
He calls shotgun.
It's his boomstick, goddammit. Oh, man. But yeah, like, what were some other ones that you had read growing up? Because, like, I mean, we've talked about, like, Batman and shit. I mean, obviously, like, Marvel Zombies is another one.
I mean, I was big into Ghost Rider back in the day.
Yes. Ghost Rider's fucking amazing.
I mean, just the simple fact that he makes people just melt and die, go to hell with just a look in his eyes. Just like that vengeful stare, that glare. Just, yeah. And plus, I mean, he's a badass with a fucking motorcycle and a whip chain. I mean, come on.
I like the whole idea behind this character because he's essentially like the hellspawn, like collector of souls on fucking Earth in a way, and it's just holy shit. Even though like I don't know, dude. Ghost Rider is one of those fucking cool characters that like you definitely root for, but holy shit, like I would be scared shitless if that son of a bitch was just like,
Yeah.
hey, like the fucking cat video, hey.
Like our dinosaur video. The little raptor or whatever it is.
Oh, you talking about the one that we
Drinking the water. Hey.
That's on our Instagram. Go look at that shit.
Yeah. It's one of those dumb things we put on there. But yeah, another one I love, like, to hell and back is Blade.
Hell yeah, dude.
I mean, I'm not a big vampire person per se, but just the fact that he actually hunts his own kind. I mean, come on. You can't go wrong with that.
There's a new one that came out that I still want to read because I read like they put like a this was a teaser or some shit out, and I read like the first couple pages of it was Gideon Falls. I really liked what I'd read so far, and it's this weird thing, like it's like in the city and the countryside at the same time, and there's like a thing called the Black Barn, and it's like this giant urban legend, and there's a lot of like mystery that surrounds it and shit. Oh my god, it's so good so far. I know Gideon Falls has been like one of the more I'm gonna say popular. I'm sure it's very popular, but I know a lot of people talk about it. You know, I feel like that's one of those Walking Dead-esque things where it's like Gideon Falls could probably become like a television series.
Yeah.
Which The Walking Dead's another one too. Like just the comics, not the TV series, but the
fuck that
comic
show.
itself. Yeah, that show's so fucking stupid.
Did you know they're actually doing a teen drama based off
Yes.
of that? And it's no. They really gotta stop that shit.
Well, they ran it into the dirt, and then, I mean, I realize it's TV, so they're gonna have to change some shit so people don't, it doesn't sound predictable to people that are watching it.
Mm-hmm.
But dude, the comics are, and I know you know this already, and people out there I'm sure know this, but fuck, the comics are so much better.
Yeah.
Like by a landslide, so much better.
Also another series I got into a couple years ago, which it's kind of weird how I got into it. Witchblade.
Dude, Witchblade is so fucking brilliant, man. I loved Witchblade.
However, the graphic novel and the comic series in general is just like 10 times better than the TV show and the manga or the anime. Now, granted, the anime was very sexually driven more so than they actually gave in the actual comic book series. But I mean,
well, the manga is better than the anime, honestly.
Yeah, but I mean, just the fact that there's this like hell like figure, this hell icon or relic, basically, that only attaches to females throughout history, the most powerful females of history, and imbues them with such strength and power that they literally just terrorize whomever their enemies are. Well, we come to the point in the past, or the future, present time, where I think her name's Sarah, if I'm not mistaken.
Sarah Connor.
No. She basically becomes imbued with the Witchblade after she investigates this old museum with relics and shit, and she's a detective in New York City. So whenever she, transforms, like her arm, like anybody who has it, their arm turns into this like gauntlet of like just blades, like sharp objects basically, and has the eye of the Witchblade on the arm somewhere. And I mean, it could literally encase the body with armor, which I know some points of it, it's very like skimpy looking, but it's the concept of giving these women so much more power than they already have to take down, whatever adversary or dilemma that they have. But it's just how they portrayed in the comics is this very like dark looking and just very edgy kind of feel to it. It's really cool. I ended up getting the comics after I watched the anime, which was kind of weird how I did that, because I do that a lot. Like, I got into Percy Jackson after watching the movies, even though that was a book series before. But
I mean, honestly, that's how I got into Harry Potter, because I remember going to see that as a child. I say as a child, as like a teenager. I remember going to see it, the first one in the movie, and then I figured out it was a book. So I just started to read the books, and I would go read a book, and like as soon as I figured out that a movie was going to come out, I'd go read the book and then get back on it or whatever.
But yeah, definitely I would recommend Witchblade as a read too. I mean, it's kind of, how do I word this? It would feel very sexualized. It would feel very like perverted to a degree on some instances, but I mean, honestly, I looked past that and like dove into just what the history behind this icon, this like relic does. And I got interested in it like immediately. So I would definitely recommend something like that.
Fuck yeah. Let's take a short break. And
Break me off a piece.
break me off a piece. Yeah. But no, we're going to be gone for like a minute. We'll be back quicker than you know it. But
Maybe.
yeah.
Depends on when Leatherface comes around or
Yeah,
not.
no shit. But there's there's a rapper that would, or I say rapper, there's a hype man that would like to tell you about a podcast that's on the same network as we are.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's Voice from the Underground.
Hey guys, this is Venice, and I've got a message from a friend of mine about my favorite podcast.
It's your boy, Flavor Flav in full effect. Check this out, everybody. I want y'all to go check out TJ.
What's good, everybody? TJ Johnson here for Voice from the Underground. I am the most handsome.
Big Has.
And I'm smoking my cigar, of course.
You know what I'm saying? The Dutch.
You pick me up in an Uber and a PT Cruiser, I'm calling Lyft.
Cause they be fighting the power, talking about social issues, politics, you know what I'm saying?
And we're not even that good.
Right, we're terrible. Terrible. Tangents all over the place.
And not only that, but they be keeping it fun with the sports, music, comics, and movies too.
Am I allowed to talk?
I think no, not right now.
Shut up, colonizer!
You know what I'm saying? He on Twitter at VFU Podcast. So you can find them. So check 1, 2. This is Flavor Flav. Yeah, boy.
Okay, what Flav was trying to say is check out Voice from the Underground on your favorite podcast network.
Voice from the Underground.
I hope the dude's okay that wrecked the car.
I'm worried about Flavor. Is he okay?
I don't know. I honestly, I don't know. I haven't seen or heard about Flavor Flav since the whole reality television shit.
I mean, was he looking at his clock and was like, oh shit, I'm late?
Dude, I want to see Alice in Wonderland with Flavor Flav as the rabbit.
Yeah. Oh shit, Alice, you're late.
You late. You better go get that pregnancy test. You're late, bitch.
That's another one too.
Lucky
American
McGee's.
McGee.
Like American McGee's. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Just remember that. Just now I can't get that out of my head. Like just
What if they made American McGee's Alice in Wonderland, but made Flavor Flav
the white rabbit.
the just the rabbit.
I'm about to say, yeah,
Just
the
make him-
dull rabbit.
Yeah, the rabbit. That's it. Alice, you late, bitch. He sounds like I just figured it out. Like Flavor Flav sounds like Macho Man Randy Savage on heroin.
He does.
Like, I swear to God.
Flavor Flav.
Yeah. Oh yeah, boy.
It's time. 3 minutes of playtime.
I'll take you to Flavor Town.
And here comes Guy Fieri.
Guy Flavari. Guy Flavari.
Welcome to Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives.
Yeah, dives off the top rope.
With the elbow of Flavor.
Diners, drive-ins, and top rope dives. Just do it. What the fuck?
It's time to die in the dine. I want to see a horror comic with Guy Fieri.
Die Fury.
Guy Fieri. He rides the Dracula through towns.
Oh my fuck! And please put Rob Zombie in there, driving
Yeah.
him around like
He's
that's
the
his
chauffeur.
Yes. Oh
Shit, there he goes. He heard us. He's going to make the comic now.
Johnny, if you're listening, let's fucking do this, man. Let's make
Yes.
this shit happen.
I want to see not Flavor Flav. Yeah, you can put him in there as well.
Fuck it, why not?
Yeah. You know, he's the timekeeper.
Dude, Flavor Flav would be the timekeeper in wrestling.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
Yeah, boy, you got 10 minutes in your time limit remaining.
It's hell in a sail.
Go for that pinfall.
1, 2, oh, snap.
Oh, fucking hell. This is derailed like a son of a bitch. Whatever.
We were having a good time. Now we're really having a good time.
That's it, man. Remember whenever I was talking about Casper earlier?
Yeah.
Okay, so did you know that there was a horror comic called Afterlife with Archie?
I thought I was about to say Asper.
Aspern Life with Archie. This when he eats too much Taco Bell.
Yeah. Or I need some hemorrhoid cream.
No, yeah, exactly.
That's
No,
a whole horror right there.
Yeah.
Medical drama. Oh my God, I have freaking cancer.
Oh, shit.
No, I'm sorry. That was kind of wrong.
Any fucking way. So it was crazy.
Archie has gonorrhea. The horror.
Gone with the wind. Gone Haria.
Gonorrhea. Anyway, I'm derailing you purposely.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Anyway, so they basically decided to drop the Comics Code Authority standards, and It actually dealt with a lot of shit. There was like gore and shit in there, like a lot of violent shit.
Yeah.
Basically, what happens is when Hot Dog gets killed by Reggie in his car, Jughead gets Sabrina, the teenage witch, to bring him back to life. But the dog is like a demon, like a feral demon dog. And then Jughead gets infected after it bites him. So he's the first zombie in Riverdale.
I'm wondering though, like they should have put Christine in the car as the car that killed him.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Talk about a crossover, man.
Yeah. I mean, you already have Archie, Sabrina, now Christine.
That's one thing we didn't mention, and I forgot to bring up earlier with the Comics Code thing, because that's what happened in 53. Like, a lot of the comics that were getting published were horror comics, but a lot of the publishers had to pretty much censor or cancel a lot of shit because of the Comics Code.
Well, I mean, that was kind of the whole topic earlier was they only saw horror as these monsters, these, menacing, weird menaces, whatever they want to call it.
Like all the violence and all that shit.
Yeah, like none of the actual blood splatter or the disembowelment or, just like dismemberment stuff was put into a comic book because nobody would, I guess, take it the right way. They would think it's just some twisted, fucked up person writing this shit and it's going to affect everybody. No, you need to calm down. It's not that serious. But I mean, after a while, you kind of have to take in a lot of factors. One, this is getting stale. You have the same creatures being rehashed over and over again in so many different ways that, okay, this is not going to stay interesting for long, for one. And two, I mean, you have so many brilliant minds out there making some kind of progress with their work that they need to be let out to show that what their creative, entity is.
Yeah.
So don't hold them back. And I think after all the backlash that they were getting on both sides, like, okay, look, as long as you do it to a degree, we'll let this happen, basically. So,
dude, do you remember Junji Ito?
Yes.
Did you ever read Uzumaki?
Mm-mm.
Okay, well, that's like I want to speak a little briefly on it, just because again, like manga shit is really like just ahead of the game. No matter, I don't care who you are. Like manga has always been ahead of the fucking game. But people that have read Uzumaki that don't know this, there's actually going to be an anime series on Adult Swim in 2020.
Awesome.
So fucking look out for that, and it's going to be in completely black and white. So I'm very interested to see that shit.
See, another anime which was based off of manga, Claymore.
Yeah, dude.
So I loved how they animated it with the grayscale, or it had like very subtle hints of color, but it was like mostly like monochromatic grayscale. Like it was heavy, just black, white, and gray. But if you don't know what Claymore is, it's basically there's these demons that are so strong that nobody can take them down, but there are certain humans that are infused with the power of these demons, primarily women. They're called silver-haired witches, or the Claymores. And what they do is they go hunt all these demons down, with massive sword or some kind of like magical power, but they tap into part of the creature's power within them. And it gets to a certain point where some of these women, they can't handle it, they can't control it anymore.
You can't handle the truth.
So they end up becoming that creature over time because they tapped into the power too much. And then they become, the demons, and then they have to be hunted by their sisters, to not wreak havoc, basically. But yeah, there's a lot of manga out there that derives from horror too. Or is horror in general. That was one of them. There was Lament of the Lamb, which I read a little bit of, which is pretty interesting. It's like vampire drama, basically. And then I guess Elf and Lied is kind of, in a way.
A little bit.
It's more of like that fucked up mentality. This creature is like hidden away in the back recess of this girl's mind. And it comes out and just murders people.
Moida.
But yeah, they have that. There's like dark tones, I guess, with like Ergo Proxy. It's kind of horror because it's just like this wasteland with these like robot, murderers and bandits and shit like that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of gray area when it comes to what is considered a horror comic or a horror manga.
True. Because I know one that the one I call it horror just because I think there's too many elements for it to not be considered that is Sandman.
Mm-hmm.
The Sandman's like more or less just dark fantasy and black comedy, but there are definitely horror elements in that motherfucker, man.
Another one too. Another manga is Blood Plus.
Yeah,
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember Blood Plus.
Basically, another vampire like mentioned, but it's kind of like an opera in a way.
Helsing.
Yeah, Helsing.
I loved Helsing.
What was that one? I just thought of it. It's kind of like Helsing. It's like a church of vampires.
God damn it.
I can't think of the name of it. But yeah, Trinity Blood, I think it's called. If I'm not mistaken.
I fucking hope so.
I think that's what it's called. Like I remember watching the anime, and I know it's based off of the manga and shit too. But it's like a deacon or a pastor or a bishop of this church.
That's it.
Yeah, he's basically a vampire, and he taps into his power, and it's like this fucking demonic, like badass, basically.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because it's that whole thing with the fucking test tube babies and shit, where it was Seth, Cain, Abel, and Lilith. Like that whole thing. Yep.
Yep.
That's a really good fucking read, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know. I could sit and talk about this for a long fucking time. There is one that I definitely wanted to like really talk about, not too in depth, but I really wanted to like make mention of it. Is there any other stuff that you can recall off the top of your head?
I mean, I'll probably think of something here and there, but
man, 30 Days of Night.
Yeah,
30 Days of Night, I think, was the first contemporary thing that I really like bought into. Like, because you know, we pick shit off the shelves. Like, I know you're just like I am. I'll go to Books A Million and just pick a comic off the shelf and kind of thumb through it and see, is this worth it? Put it back. Then graphic novels come out. I'm more likely to purchase a full like trade paperback of more. 30 Days of Night was one of the coolest looking. And I thank Johnny Segura for that one because I remember, dude, it was like 2005. Excuse me, and me and him were hanging out at the tattoo shop that he worked at here in town, and he always had something to show me. Always had a comic to show me, and like I'll never forget. He's like, "Have you read 30 Days of Night?" I said, "I've never heard of it," and he said, "Man, it's a Steve Niles comic book." And I was like, okay, I'm interested. And dude, I'm glad I bought it. I didn't even ask him what it was about. I mean, I did, but I didn't ask him to go into too much detail. And I remember I went to Books A Million and found it and bought it right there. And I'm glad I did. That's one of the best fucking comics I've read.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a good one.
For those of you out there that don't know, basically what happens is in Barrow, Alaska, where the story's set, the sun sets for 30 days because, you know, Alaska is that lovely place where the sun doesn't come out for a full fucking month, or it stays out for a full month, you know?
Yeah.
But what happens is vampires go there to feed for the entire month because they don't have to avoid sunlight.
Mm-hmm.
And this small-ass town gets basically kind of like blizzarded in, and they have to fight for survival. It's so fucking good.
Yeah. Like, imagine like an intense version of Walking Dead in a way. Because, you know, you're just surrounded by these creatures and you don't know what to fucking do.
The Flocking Dead?
Yeah.
Like, bats, but vampire birds. Not even actual bats, but like vampiric birds.
Yeah.
Canadian geese that are vampires.
There you go. That's why they're so
that.
fucking evil. They're shape-shifting vampires.
Man, look, okay. I don't. I'm sitting here debating whether or not I should tell this fucking story.
Might as well.
Okay, hang on. Let me take a swig of drink real fast.
Let him chug his flu juice.
Yeah. If y'all can't tell, I was gonna say if y'all can't tell, we're both sick right now.
You probably can't, but yeah, we're basically deeming ourselves polio and Fluigi right now.
Yeah, the Super Medical Brothers.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
We need Dr. Mario.
Yeah.
Anyway, your story.
Fucking hell. No, it's cool. For the sake of people being like, "Oh, animal cruelty," I don't think it's very much animal cruelty as it is me like scaring this little bastard off so I didn't get snapped. Mm-hmm. If you've ever dealt with a Canadian goose, they're vicious little bastards that like to fucking snap at you and actually like bite the fuck out of you. And the way they tell you to do it is if you ever encounter a wild goose that's gonna fuck with you, you grab it up by like its neck, but you don't break it. You basically just yeet it into the distance, like real hard, and it'll fly the fuck away and leave you alone because you've established dominance.
So you yeet it.
Yeah. Gone. So what happened was I was living in Colorado. And this all makes sense because we were talking about vampiric geese and the cold weather. So I was living in Denver in 2007.
Hold on, I got a story name for it. 30 Days of Flight.
That's exactly what fucking happened. 30 days of...
Yeah.
So I'm standing there feeding, which, again, looking back on it, it was a pretty dumb move because you're not supposed to feed bread to ducks. But I was feeding bread to ducks because we had a pond in the middle of our apartment complex.
Yeah.
Every Halloween or near, fall and winter, the Canadian geese would fly in from the north. And I saw them the day they flew in because there was a giant flock and they just came and fucking dive bombed and they were like, sploosh, and they just kind of swim in the lake. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm out there feeding the ducks and little motherfucker just comes waddling up to me and he's his head and everything is about to like middle of my stomach, like near my chest. It's tall. And you know how they hiss?
Yeah.
I wasn't giving him any bread because I'm like, man, I know about you little bastards. I've only heard about you in fairy tales, but you're here and you're in person. I believe. Mm-hmm. So the little fucker looked at me, and I was throwing bread at the ducks, and they would fuck with the ducks, like they'd heard him and shit. I was like, you guys are assholes. The little fucker said, like looked at me, dude. I swear to God, like my first instinct, because he was under me, I arched my fucking arm up, and I mean with a downward stroke, I just punched the fuck out of that goose in the top of its head so hard that it like staggered, wobbled, and flew the fuck away. I was like, good, it's not gonna bite me anymore.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's animal on animal cruelty, so I would defend the ducks.
Well, I defended well, he was just snapping me.
I know, that's what I'm saying. He was snapping at the ducks.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, you're a dickhead, but then he was trying to bite me. I was like, and he was standing right next to me trying to bite. I was like, no, fuck you, dude. I punched the shit out the goose, and he fucking flew away.
So you're playing duck, smack.
Duck.
Yeah.
I wish I'd had my Nintendo blaster. Probably would have just scared him away even better.
Yeah.
But don't punch a goose unless it's trying to bite the fuck out of you. But I'm convinced now that it was a vampiric goose trying to fucking infect me with its bird flu.
Dude, you mentioned geese earlier, and it reminded me of a mutual friend of ours, Emily Tanner.
Yes.
When I first met her, and like ongoing after that, she would always talk about like geese are just devils, like they're just like demonic beings and shit like that, or just some along those lines. So every time that we were hanging out with like a group of people, whatever, and I would mention, or somebody would mention geese, like I would feel like the PTSD from that side of the room just flare up, and you look at it, it's like, geese are the fucking monsters, they're the, whatever. I'm like, God damn, okay, calm down. But like that's the only thing I think of was geese, like the fact that she has like traumatic like situations.
PTSD, punch the stupid duck.
Yeah. The dog.
Yeah. Man. Yeah. Any fuck away. I digress. Really hard.
So Johnny, yet another comic book you should write, Vampire Geese.
Yeah.
I mean, shit, you can even make him look like shape-shifting like Birdman. Just...
It's like Count Duckula.
There you go. Like Howard the Duck meets Count Duckula.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Why is this not a thing?
I know. Y'all are welcome.
Fucking Christ, man.
Y'all thought he was dead. He's not dead. Howard never dies.
Yeah, we told you he did.
He must be a vampire too.
Shit. I don't know, man. Like I said, there's a ton of comics we could probably talk about for a long time, but I'm trying to think if there's anything else, because as far as I know, I'm a little tapped out as far as what I remember and what I bought to read. Yeah, I'm just kind of sitting here now.
Yeah, I mean, I just remember like you said earlier with the Marvel and DC, like they kind of went to the zombie side here and there, with their own spinoff of that. Didn't the Ninja Turtles do that too?
I feel like they did, maybe, and I feel dumb if they did, and I haven't like really read about it or heard about it. But I feel like they did.
I want to say I saw like a comic book cover of Like they were looking like demonic or dead looking.
That might have been a thing.
Like it's amazing how if something isn't derivative of horror, like it becomes influenced by horror.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can pretty much find anything that you like. Like earlier we said Captain America. I mean, you don't think Captain America as horror, but there's so much behind that is considered horror now. So I mean, I'm sure if you look hard enough, you'll find something along your taste that is with something that you've enjoyed for so long, you know?
Yeah, and honestly, if you want to get into something, like if you're a younger listener, which fucking deity above help you if you are a young listener, because we're foul-mouthed as fuck. But if somehow you've made it here and you're listening in.
And you're still alive.
Yeah.
Check your pulse.
Yeah. But a good thing to get into, like if you're sitting there going, I don't know if I want to venture into characters I don't know about, but I would like to I'd like to read about some kind of horror influence. Check out Marvel Zombies. Like that's probably a really good introduction for younger people to get into, or somebody that doesn't necessarily always read horror-based shit, but they kind of want like an easy intro.
I mean, especially with the hype train with Marvel right now, I mean, that's a good way to get into it.
Yeah, and basically the plot is that it's in a multiverse. It's Earth 2149, and basically has alternate versions of them, and they're all zombies. And I mean, it has everybody from the Avengers, X-Men, Fantastic Four, Spider-Man. Everybody you can think of is there.
You know, speaking of Spider-Man, me and you know this. In the Spider-Man game for the PS4, how they infused Ghost Spider as a costume.
Yes.
I thought that was pretty cool. Like, that was probably the one outfit that stood out the most out of all of them because of what it portrayed. Like, it was that Ghost Rider flame skull look to it. Mm-hmm. And he had the whole white costume with the black, like, really ingrained into his muscle structure, like spider legs and shit.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was pretty neat.
Fuck yeah, it was.
But I think that was derivative of a comic book as well. I can't remember which one it was off the top of my head because I read about it.
Yeah.
But
I think that's it for me, dude. Because, like I said, there's things I've read, but there's still much more to catch up on and much more to read. But yeah, anybody out there that wants to like a soft intro to the shit, go check out the Marvel Zombies run. It was like a 5 or 6 issue miniseries, and I liked it a lot. But that's all I have for this shit this week. I am.
Oh, yeah.
Well, what the fuck was that?
That was me hiccuping.
Whoop. Whoop. Whoop.
There it is.
Whoop, there it is. All right. So, yeah. Whoop, whoop. There it is. Whoop, whoop, there it is, motherfucker.
Woof, woof, there it is.
Come back next week. We're doing Cult Cinema Showdown 34. It'll be the third entry into the Spooky Media Bros podcast for October. It's going to be Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2 versus Jason Lives Friday the 13th Part 6.
Yeah.
That's going to be a lot of fun.
Of course, we say that every time, but yeah,
it's
always fun.
It is always fun. You either love the shit out of it or you find something to love in spite of it being what it is.
Just poke fun at it. All of it sucks except for this one part.
Oh my God!
That is like our reaction to every one of these movies.
Yeah. Hey, guess what we're watching next week? Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2.
Oh my God!
Speaking of Leatherface.
Oh my bod. They couldn't cut the fuck up by any of them.
Yeah. That's why he's in town.
He's coming to collect?
Yeah, he's coming to collect. And to, like, sit in on the movies.
Dude, I want to write a parody called Pleatherface, where it's just fake leather on his body.
Leather Daddy Face?
No, just Pleatherface. Like,
No. Like a 50 Shades of Grey crossover with Leatherface.
Oh.
Leather Daddy Face.
Oh, that would be fucking hilarious, dude.
Yeah. Just like that, like, shiny fucking black leather on his face. And he just has, like, a fucking, like...
S&M Saw Massacre.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a fucking gag in his mouth.
And his chainsaw's like a bunch of whips on the end.
Yeah, it's not changed. It just smacks the fuck out of you. I just...
Oh, no, who? That ass is going to be horror. That ass is gonna be terrorized.
Just euphoria afterwards. Oh man!
Welcome to my room.
It's free real estate.
Oh, this reminds me of like American Horror Story now with the first season.
Oh yeah.
Just walking leather panting daddy. Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Ugh.
God damn it. Go to our website, supermediabrospodcast.com. You can listen to past, present, and future episodes of us all day, every day.
Sweaty balls, yeah.
Nobody can resist.
No, these sweaty balls.
However, if you can resist our sweaty balls, you can go to patreon.com/supermediabros or coffee.com/supermediabros, both in the show notes below. And you can either sign up for a monthly donation where you'll get bonus content or just donate because you feel like it. And there's no obligation with the other one. So see which one you want to do.
So you can get us some powder for our sweaty balls.
That's it.
Yeah. Donate that.
And for donating that, just go to our just go donate literally powder.
Not the cocaine variety or the crack.
No,
Not
Dude,
that white powder.
You know what would be so fucked up? It's like that's like the first fan mail that we would get would be like a fucking bag of cocaine, and I'd just feel like, are you fucking serious?
Somewhere in Miami.
Somewhere in like that's what the address says. Somewhere in Miami, and that's it.
It's from DJ and Beth. Now that I'm thinking about it, they're both
Somewhere.
in Florida. Yeah.
They're not that far down, but goddamn, it would just be funny somewhere in Florida,
Yeah.
somewhere in Miami.
Here you go, guys. You need some
Thanks.
pep in your step.
God damn it. Fucking come onto the episode following that and be like, you want to talk shit? Okay.
It would be funny if they can find like a gift card, or not gift card. I can't think of the fucking name of it now. Like one of those Hallmark cards.
Yeah.
And it opens up and has the Dragon Sound music playing.
Oh my fucking God.
Friends forever.
Loyalty yet honesty. I just thought about something. I would like to get a Tony Montana snow globe.
There you go.
Because it would be funny as shit.
Just have him at his desk.
On the day. And just lean back like, you know that look I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Where he's just sitting there. He's just like, these motherfuckers. He's like, come on, pelican. Like he's in the hot tub. Look at the pelican, Manny. Look at the bird. Fly, Manny, fly. Come on, pelican. I love that movie.
Yep.
Any fucking way. Buy some fucking merch. You know, fall is here and it's cold. We have hoodies and zip-up jackets on sale in our store.
Yeah.
Get them for you. Get them for your friend.
Get him for your Leatherface.
Yeah.
I'm sure he wants one to put on his face.
Saul per Media Bros right on his fucking face.
Yeah.
Subscribe to us on YouTube. We have episodes released weekly on there and some live video content and all that good shit.
Definitely check out our water challenge where we all over all the sparkling water.
That was a horror movie on its own.
Yeah. You should do like a filter of like horror on that.
Oh God, it'd be
Just
great.
certain clips, just like as we drink it, just
Blood runs down the screen and shit. Yeah, we just pour it into the glass and it becomes blood instead of water. And
Yeah.
it just, yeah.
Is that you, Jesus? Zombie Jesus.
It's you, zombie Jesus. It's us, the Super Media Bros.
Oh my God.
Fuck, you had me laughing last week with the whole Jim Ross thing.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, Jim Ross commentary, like a Jim Ross commentary track for Troll 2. They're beating him, and they're gonna beat me. Oh my God! Boomer Sooner.
You're Slobberknocker.
Exactly. Go. I don't know what's going on.
Okay.
There's blood splurting out of.
Yeah, we
everywhere.
might need to get out of here real quick. So
Yeah. So yeah, go come talk to us on social media because I think the house is bleeding.
yeah, it's kind of creepy.
It would happen, but it's okay.
Why are we talking horror?
I don't know, but yeah, it's facebook.com/supermediabros. No blood, please.
I don't know.
Come interact with us on twitter.com/supermediabros_.
Oh shit, it's getting on me. Ew.
And yeah, for the love of everything, come look at our stupid pictures at Super Media Bros Podcast on Instagram.
What is that behind us? Ew. Oh hi. Oh hi, face.
Oh hi. It's nice to see you.
Yeah.
Well,
we're getting off.
What are you doing with that hammer? Don't wait. No.
Well, shit. Until next time, he was Midnight Agero, and I'm Okami.